How's it going, everyone? This is George, aka Hypothetical YGO, and today I'm actually here with a buddy of mine. This is not my deck profile. This is actually my buddy JT's. I'm just gonna let him take it away from here. What did you play?
Yesterday at the Arkham Games and Comics Regional, I played pure Tri-Brigade with the DPE engine. I got top 4. 4-1, third place, so I guess I'll go right for the deck profile, and I know people are going to be like, boo, DPE. So I guess I'll start with the main deck. To start with the main deck, I play 3 copies of Rescue Cat, which is one of the best starters in the entire deck. This card is either a 1-card Appaloosa plus Revolt, or a 2-card Appaloosa Revolt DDL if you have a name in hand already. This can also get into Anaconda that can make DPE on occasion, but it's definitely one of the best cards in the entire deck. For the regular Tri-Brigades, the actual Tri-Brigades, I play 3 Fractal, 3 Kit, 3 Nerval, and 2 copies of Karis. I only play 2 Karis because it does nothing on its own. You don't really want to open Karis all that much. Fractal is the main starter of the Tri-Brigade engine. Gets your combos going, you send it, then send a Kit, followed by Nerval, you add a name into your hand. And then whichever one you add, you can just banish this on a Fairjet and whatnot. And that makes stuff like Fairjet, Bearbrumm, DDL, Double Dragon's Lords, for those of you that don't know. All that great stuff. Then we play a few hand traps. I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom Joy Springs. I think it's a pretty underwhelming hand trap, but I still play at 3 because it hits Fusion Destiny, which is really important. Now that pretty much any deck that can play it runs like 3 copies of Fusion Destiny, they can just hard draw and activate and just Ash Blossom it. It kind of feels nice.
How did that actually work out for you? Because I know a lot of people were cutting Ash.
I've actually Ash Fusion Destiny like once or twice yesterday, so it was really nice. It wasn't really dead either. You can also Ash like Pod Desires and such. I also, for another hand shot, I play 2 copies of Droll Lockbird. This is partially as a cross-out target, which I'll get into a little bit later, but also because it does hit a decent amount of things like 4 Underees, random Pendulum decks, and just anything else that can search like more than once per turn.
Shoutouts to Triff.
Yeah. Sorry, Triff guy, have the Droll Lockbird for your Pendulum deck. Can't let you search all over the place. Yeah, but it's mostly there as a cross-out target, but it's also secondary as a way to hit like random decks that search a lot, such as Pendulum.
Okay.
Flanders and shit. 1 copy of Effect Veiler. Again, another cross-out target, as well as extra effect negation on top of the imperms that we'll see a little bit later. It's decent. Effect negation is really good, especially against stuff like Flanders, which you can stop them hard in the tracks by like Effect Veilering or imperming the Eagle.
Yep.
1 copy of Nibiru. I hate this card personally because it always appears as a 6th card when I go second against combo decks, but it's only here as a cross-out target. Okay. I actually did draw it as my 6th card against Sword Soul Tenyi, so that's pretty fun.
Gotta love it.
But I didn't really open it at all, and it didn't really come up as a cross-out target, but the option was there, so that is pretty nice.
Would you consider cutting it in the future, or?
No, it's still keep it as a cross-out target. I definitely wouldn't bump it up to any copies higher than 1, but I'd keep it just as a cross-out target. I mean, at worst, if I open it, I can just put it back in the deck of Fearsjet or Bearbrumm.
Okay.
Not really. The last few hand traps are 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, of course. I played 3 copies of these because it's actually really good going second. Like if your opponent is sitting on like a negate, such as a Chusao or something annoying like an Inspector Border, and you open the Imperm, you can just activate from hand, stun whatever you're trying to stun, and then continue playing on. This is also as a cross-out target partially, but it's more so just because of generic hand traps.
Okay.
And the last 2 monsters of the deck is the D-Hero package, Celestial and Dasher. I actually resolve both of these effects pretty often throughout the day. In fact, my last game of the day, against Sword Soul Tenyi, Game 3, I drew into a very annoying side deck card that helped me win off of Celestial. I emptied my hand by special summoning an Ash Blossom at top deck off of Dasher, and that allowed me to have no cards in hand to just use Celestial to draw to.
That's good.
Going for the spells, we played 3 copies of Cross-Out Detonator. A lot of people have don't really like this card. They find it will win more. They find it not very helpful. I find it really good. I actually crossed out an opponent's Fusion Destiny today against Sky Striker, so that really felt nice. I also crossed out Effect Veiler, and I believe I might have crossed out an Ash Blossom at one point as well. It's also decent versus the mirror match too, especially if you're going first. We play 3 copies of the Fusion Destiny. Why not? It doesn't have that silly restriction that Red Eyes Fusion has.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't brick on it. You don't really brick on it, so.
No, you really don't. You just hard open it. Like, you can do your little combos first. You can get like a good board presence out. You just activate Fusion Destiny, or you can get Anaconda and then activate it. This card is really good because if they like hard stop you with Joel Lockwood or Lancia, and you can't really have a way to continue playing on normally, you can just hard activate a Fusion Destiny and then just get a DPE out and put pressure on the opponent. This is kind of like how Drytron resorted to using like Red Eyes Fusion last format.
Yeah.
After they got Joel and just continue to play on, have like a backup plan. And the extra dead copies you can either shuffle back in with Bearbrumm Fidget, or you can pop the dead copies with DPE. So it's really not that big of a deal if you dead draw into them. For consistency's sakes, I played 2 Pot of Prosperity. I chose to play 2 over 3 because I'm not really going to resolve more than 1, really. 2 max, but I'm not going to resolve 3, and I don't really want to brick on them. Plus, the deck is pretty consistent as is. And you usually only banish 3 per copy anyways, because your extra deck, you need your extra deck pretty much a lot of the time.
Yeah.
For more consistency, I play the Saki Fire Formation Tenki to search out your Fractal, and the Foolish Barrel, which acts as a de facto Tenki / Fractal, because you can just activate Send Kit, follow by Nerval, then add, like, a name to hand, and you can do some combos and whatnot. And for the last spell, I play a random Harpy Conductor because this deck does not like back row that much, and I don't have anything else I could put in as a random one of. I figured, why not? If I'm going to face it off against random back row, I can be happy and just sack the opponent off with it and just blow out their back row.
Okay.
And we already saw 3 of the 5 traps, or 3 of the 6 traps. Right, but the next 3 traps is 2 Revolt and 1 Imperial Order. Us Tri-Brigade players are so good we always open Imperial Order. That's the cardinal rule.
Yeah, I can attest to that, but yeah, that is the case, sadly.
I actually opened it against Sky Striker today.
Is there anything you would change about the main deck?
Absolutely not. I think the main deck is completely perfect.
Okay.
It's a 40 card main deck. I would not go over 40 cards because I rarely go over 40 cards in the main deck, and I think the main deck is perfect enough in my opinion.
I think that's correct with Tri-Brigade as well. So.
Yeah, you don't want to break it. You want to open your starters as much as possible.
Okay.
I'll go into the extra deck next. I play 3 copies Charade the Ominous Omen for the grind game. I mean, some people play 2, but I choose to play 3 because you can summon 2 off of it, 1 off of each Revolt that you own, and then you have like the extra copy to summon off of one of your names if you're in a very tight grind game.
Okay.
2 copies of Fear Ship, pretty standard. It lets you combo off, especially when you have Rescue Cat. You just basically summon it, summon a name from your hand, and then you continue your combos. And it also sculpts your hand by drawing a card.
Yep.
1 copy of Bearbrumm the Rampant Blaster. This is your main way to search out Revolt. It also has that one other effect where you can discard 2 cards, special summon a banished Tri-Brigade. But I've never resolved that effect. I mean, it's okay, I guess, but I never really use that effect unless I absolutely have to.
It does come up. It does vary.
It can come up, yeah, on occasion. But if you're at a point where you need to do that, you're probably in a lot of trouble anyways. 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Rugal. It's more or less a extra name, a link 3 to go into access code. The attack decrease that it uses when it's gets sent to the graveyard can come in handy. Its other effect is basically you can, during the main phase, during the post main phase, you can special summon a Tri-Brigade monster from the graveyard, and then special negate and return it at the end of the end phase.
It's good. It's good to grind with.
Yes, very much so. Then we play Solomary Almirage. If you have to link off your kit or Nerval to go into this, have to started your turn, your hand is probably pretty crappy, to be honest. But yeah, it's a good way to like link off a kit or Nervo if you have no other options, and then get a name. It's pretty cool if you have like Reroll, because you can just link off the kit, send Nervo, add Fractal, then send Fractal, then send something else, and set Reroll, and have an instant Omen pretty much. Nothing really else to say. Plant Verte Anaconda, it's Verte. We play the DPE package, so obviously we gotta play this in case you know hard draw the Fusion Destiny. Double Dragon's Lord, this actually helped me out today. In my round 1 match against Prank Kids, game 3, I was able to bait out something and somehow keep my DPE alive and push for the opponent that way. That game 3 I should have lost, but somehow I managed to win because I was able to just control the board with DPE and Double Dragon's Lord. The next card is going to be pretty spicy, if you consider it that. I consider it that because this isn't really standard for Tri-Brigade decks. I'll play 1 copy of Harpy's Conductor. It has 2 purposes. The first purpose is it's going to be link fodder for Appaloosa, so I don't have to like summon DDL and then use that as link fodder. I can save DDL for later on in the game or Fearjit. I can just use this as it does nothing inherently in the deck. So I can just have this as extra link material. Its next purpose is that if I'm going first, games 2 or 3, and I don't feel confident enough to leave it like Appaloosa out, and I feel like I could get Darker No More or Chelsea or whatnot, I will actually just hard end on a Tri-Brigade name plus this, and if I open like one of my side deck cards, Harpy's Featherstorm, I just keep it in my hand, and on my opponent's turn I just shotgun it, and they can't do shit, and I just clean up next turn. So it's just basically, it would basically accomplish the same thing that Appaloosa would, except I wouldn't have to use resources on it.
Okay.
Doom Eagle, this card's actually really good. It won my game 3 against Sword Soul Tenny. So I was able to have a 4800 beater that hit over Protos after they called Darks. I couldn't get rid of it because of Omen's Dark, but
yeah, you can just hard make it with the Nerval and the Harpy Conductor too. So
yeah, I just beat over it. And then I just return the monster that's in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. There's a winged beast, which helps me if I have it backed up with Harpy Thunderstorm, which did happen in that aforementioned Tenny Sword Soul game, which I'll go into a little bit. But yeah, it's winged beast. Right. Works out very perfectly. Appaloosa, pretty standard. Your main goal.
I need to explain it. That one, everyone knows the Appa.
Main goal is to just go into it turn 1, basically shut down monster effects. Our favorite access code, aka the access machine, the cleaner, basically cleans games up on its own. Like you just summon a Tri-Brigade name, dance 3, summon like Rugal or Doom Eagle, then go into access code machine. It goes burr. This plus Omen. This at 50-30 plus Omen is a guaranteed OTK if your opponent's at full and they have an empty board. But if they don't have an empty board, just clear off with access code and they can't respond to it with like Solemn Strike or something.
Yeah,
after doing Solemn Strike to summon though.
Yeah, so. After doing regular combo 2, you get 3 attributes engraved for the access code. So you get 3 pops plus the Sure Egg. So you're usually pretty stacked in there.
100%, dude. Like access code is like the man. And our favorite, the DPE. This actually carried a lot of my games today. So this card is fucking busted. Sorry for swearing, but it is absolutely busted.
Yep.
Like that. I was playing as Flunderies, and they hard opened the D shifter on me. But I hard opened like the Fusion Destiny. I just summoned DP and sat on it, and they couldn't do anything.
Nice.
They scooped it up. Now for the side deck. First, we have 1 DD Crow. This is actually a last-minute decision. I was filling out my deck list. I originally was going to go with 3 Lancia. And, I want to just put in a DD Crow because it's searchable. So I took out one of the Lancias, and I fit this in.
Did you ever actually search it out?
I didn't search it out. I did not search it out, but I did open it. Like, okay. I opened DD Crow against Sky Striker. They tried to grab a multi-roll. I DD Crow'd and, played keep away from the multi-roll.
Nice.
This is also decent against the opponent's DPE. You just like DD Crow their DPE, so they can't bring it back, so on and so forth. 2 copies of Artifact Lancia. This is for Virtual World, Phantom Knights, Tenny Sword Soul, I guess to an extent, Flunderies. This can also be side against Phantom Knights, to be honest. So cutting the third Lancey out for DD Crow wasn't really that big of a deal because I could just side the DD Crow in addition to these two for the Phantom Knights matchup. Twin Twisters because we hate back row. It's just the way it is. Like TC Boo kind of hurts us. Imperial Order kind of hurts us if we open all spells. And back row in general is just a pain. Plus you can like pitch Kit or Nerval off of it and get the search anyways. So it's all good in that regard. I play triple droplets on the side. I debate between this and Dark World no more, but I overall just like go with droplets because of the flexibility. Like they have Imperial Order on the field, or they do something and then you just droplet, send to a graveyard, negate monster effect, or if you try to activate your Tri-Brigade names and they chain like Imperm or Baylor, you just activate droplet, send the target to the graveyard, and then negate and post monster's effect. It kills 2 birds with 1 stone, burns their Imperm / Baylor, but also negates something on their side, and you still get your effects off. Next up is the card that you believe should be banned. I believe should probably be banned, but I don't want it to be banned because back row really sucks to deal with. One copy of Red Reboot is pretty sacky, not gonna lie. I actually hard opened it versus Flunderies in my Game 2 match against them, and yeah, that pretty much just sealed the deal for me.
That's nice.
It probably should be banned, in all honesty, but, you know, I'm biased. Another card you think that should be banned is Harpy's Featherstorm. Like I mentioned with the Harpy Conductor, if I open this, then I'm not going to go for Appaloosa on that turn. I'm just going to try to go for a Harpy Conductor if I can, or if I can just sit on Nerval, I'll just set this with Nerval. Funny thing is, Game 2 against Prank Kids, after I lost Game 1, I opened Nerval plus Fusion Destiny plus this. I summon Nerval, activate Fusion Destiny, summon DPE, and then set this. And on their turn, when they linked away the fire for their Meow Meow, I just chained a Featherstorm, and they basically scooped it up because, you know, their effects are completely useless for the turn. And it also has some decent synergy with DP. If somehow you're in a situation where you need to pop something as well, you can just activate Featherstorm and then use DP to pop this card on the field plus another card on the opposed field and get a search off of Harpy's Featherduster that way. That scenario never came up though. Oh, this also won me my game too.
Oh, that's dirty, but that's crazy.
It is. Free Featherstorm.
So what's the last one?
That's actually... I do want to make a point about this, though, is that Game 3 against Tinny Sword Soul, when I got Doom Eagle out, I banished Celestial and drew into this, and then I set it, and then I just shotgunned it next turn on their turn.
Nice.
So. And then evenly matched for the Elvish matchup, mainly because they do tend to run like the Heavenly Prison card, which means their back row removal isn't going to be really solid against them. This is also decent versus Flunderies, decent versus Sword Soul if you can beat out the negation. And just decent all around versus a lot of control decks, but that is pretty much the list that I have.
So, what's a quick overview of your matchups?
Round 1, I beat Prank Kids 2-1. Round 2, I lost to Plunder DPE 2-0 because I bricked both games. It was really bad, but you know that is the way it is. This game kind of sucks in that regard, but what can you do? Sky Striker, I won 2-0. I did cross-out Designator Fusion Destiny against him, so that was pretty cool. I think I also cross-out Veiler Game 1 against him. Round 4, I beat Flunderies 2-0. That was my easiest match of the day. And round 5, I beat Sword Soul 2-1.
Alright. That's good to hear. Last thing, any shoutouts?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a shout for this deck profile. I appreciate for you letting me showcase my deck. I'm going to give a shout to my friend Chris for actually giving me the Fusion Destinies and the Featherstorms a few weeks ago, so I could play them in this deck. Well, the Featherstorms are mostly for Flunderies, but I just decided to stick them in the deck for now. Shout out to Team Super Dreadnought, because they're all awesome. And that's all I got, I guess.
Alright, well, if you guys want to actually check out a dueling book version of the deck profile, go ahead and follow the links down below. Also, follow the links down to Super Dreadnought if you'd like to interact with anyone that I am featuring on these deck profiles. Everyone that I featured is super, super cool. Could always have matches with them, learn a little bit from them, all kinds of stuff. But go ahead and check out all the links down below. Leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button Stay tuned for more content. Check out my Twitch and my Twitter. And that's all I have for you today. So have a great night, everyone.
Peace.